Now this is a first in India today. This is the first video, viewers, that we're bringing to you of protesters entering into the residence earlier of Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. They opened the door to find an empty house as they walked down the red carpet. Gotabaya Rajapaksa's whereabouts are still unknown since he fled the presidential palace earlier today. You can see in those visuals how literally the protesters just opened the door into the presidential palace and walked straight down the red carpet as they occupied the premises and ransacked the premises as well. These are protesters that had gathered in Colombo earlier today in order to demand the resignation of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his whereabouts are currently unknown. He had fled his presidential palace before the protesters reached the spot. There were, of course, two naval vessels that were seen leaving a Sri Lankan port, but it is yet unknown whether Gotabaya Rajapaksa has left Sri Lanka or not, but there are reports that he has definitely left Colombo as we speak. But since, of course, this day-long protest broke out in the capital city of Colombo, there hasn't been a single word that has come in from President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Absolutely dramatic images that have been coming in from Sri Lanka all day today. The pictures on your screens right now of crowds marching towards Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's private residence, and these images from earlier today when the protesters in fact had literally just opened the door and walked into the presidential palace, which had been emptied out even before they reached. Gotabaya Rajapaksa had fled from his residence even before the protesters stormed into his residence. You can see them, of course, filming those moments as they entered the presidential palace. They occupied the presidential palace. They also stormed into the presidential secretariat as well. Eventually, of course, going into the kitchen, going into the swimming pool of the presidential palace, as well as the suites in the president's residence. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is at the moment absconding because it's not known where he is at the moment. He is in a safe space is what some defense sources have said, but he so far hasn't spoken at all on this absolute mayhem that has, of course, taken place on the streets of Colombo today.